Welcome back to Skate Talk Online. I'm thrilled to once again have PJ Kwong with us to preview Skate Canada. It's the second Grand Prix stop, and this is PJ's territory.
I am delighted to be here. This was so much fun last time. I look forward to, fingers crossed, that you'll invite me again after this. Okay, now we go.
Starting off with the men, favorite here is Shoma Uno from Japan. Mr. Silver Medal, I guess you could call him. Silver medals at every single major competition last season. Really, really big scores so far this season. He's again going for many quads in his free skate. Not always successful, but he really racks up the points technically in other ways. What do you think about his skating?
You know what? One of the things I absolutely love about Shoma skating is that deep knee bend. Holy smokes. That's how he's able to really secure those landings, is that deep knee bend. Not only that, man, that guy flies across the ice. So based on those two things, and the fact that he just looks like everything that I love about skating. He's compact. He's like so secure in his jumps. He's great in his elements. He's got great speed. He's completely watchable. And he's got that adorable face. I know, I'm old. It sounds creepy, but I just love watching him. So he is definitely my pick. And if you go to my CBC preview, you'll see that he's my pick for the men's. But I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I think that there are definitely some men who are nipping at his heels. What do you think?
Once again, we're probably going to review most of the field because this is a deep field as far as the men go. This competition actually is very much like the Autumn Classic, which you attended. Many of the men here were also there. So let's start off with Junhwan Cha. He is Korean.
Yes.
Actually has the same coach as Yuzuru Hanyu. Brian Orser trains in Canada. He actually beat Hanyu in the free skate at the Autumn Classic. What do you think his chances are here? Is he someone that could potentially upset?
Of course he can upset. I mean, all Shoma needs to do is make a couple of mistakes, and Junhwa, if he skates perfectly, then, I think he's the man. However, this man is still a 17-year-old boy, and he's got lots that he still has to perfect in terms of his competition strategy. I think that just like when we first saw Yuzuru Hanyu as a teenager, and he was a little bit sort of a little loose, a little loosey-goosey. That's the way to put it. I find that Junhwa skates in the same kind of way. Although, you know what? Same slender build, same ability to rotate quickly in the air, and there's a charm about him. So I think that he is somebody definitely to watch out for. He was sort of my pick for to be on the podium, but this is a learning process for him too, and we can't discount that. So this is a man with lots of promise. The Korean fans are going crazy for him. And I think that the skating world is going to be happy to receive sort of a new kind of champion.
We also have Jason Brown, now training with Brian Orser as well. Style change, his hair is gone. A kind of different approach to his programs, I think. His short program is more of his style, but his free skate is completely different than anything we've seen him do. What did you think about him at the Autumn Classic, and what do you think about his chances here?
Well, first of all, I got to tell you that as a human, Jason Brown is one of my all-time favorites. He's got a wonderful personality. He is so generous, kind, and he is a wonderful interview if you ever happen to interview him sort of as a journalist. I think that it takes a lot of time to sort of get into sort of, let's say, a new pair of figurative boots, and that is to be training in Toronto, completely different style of training, completely different style, you're right, of skating. So it takes a little bit of time to become acclimated to that kind of change. I don't know that he's had enough time yet to get completely settled into the new style. My fingers are crossed for him because there is nobody more expressive on the ice. And I think he is such a wonderful representative for U.S. figure skating.
We also have a trio of Canadian men, led by Keegan Messing. There are so many senior men knocking at the door to be the new national champion now that Patrick Chan is retired. Do you think Keegan Messing is probably at the top of that list?
I do. I think that the national championships are Keegan's to lose. He has demonstrated a consistency in competition. He is, again, he really endears himself to the audience with a very accessible style, and he's got the sort of powerhouse jumps that we haven't seen in the same way that we saw, let's say, an Elvis Stoico from a couple of generations of figure skaters ago. So that kind of muscle into the air is something that's very impressive. Now, don't discount Nam Nguyen, who had a mistake in a short program at Skate America, but rebounded with a terrific free skate in Skate America. Nam is a former Canadian champion. He's not going to want to go down without a fight. And then we've also got Roman Sadovsky. Roman Sadovsky reminds me of like a Baryshnikov on ice. He was undergoing a growth spurt, but feels like, maybe 4 years where we haven't really seen the Roman that we knew when he was just a little guy. He has settled into his 6 feet 1 inch frame. He has this beautiful elegance, this balletic style that is completely compelling. And I think that even with the other men in the field, Roman is someone to watch out for because he's presenting something that's a little bit unique, a little bit different, and kind of what I call big skating. He fills the rink. So it's going to be a great men's competition, I think.
2 more names that we have to throw out there. Kevin Amos of France really stole the show at the Autumn Classic, at least in the free skate. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I think he's a bit of a dark horse. I think that this is a reputation that is still sort of coming. I think that, buzz around skaters is one of the things that helps to build them, to build their confidence, and also to build their profile within international figure skating. I agree with you. He did steal the show. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do at Skate Canada in Laval.
Final skater Kazuki Tomono from Japan. You might not know his name, but he was 5th at the World Championships. He was actually 3rd in the free skate. You can't count him out either.
Well, another dark horse. I mean, he's a name that, will he become the next Shoma Uno, Yuzuru Hanyu? I don't really know at this point. But the fact that he was 5th in the world means that you cannot discount him. If somebody is able to pull together the kind of performance that's required to be top 5, then that they're somebody who is serious about competing. Got to remind you that Nam Nguyen was also once top 5 in the world. So all of these men have potential. And I think that definitely for me, top to bottom, it is the premier event in terms of depth of quality for Skate Canada.
Moving on to the ladies. This potentially could be the gold medal battle that we want to see. Evgenia moved to Canada. She's now also trained by Brian Orser. It seems like everybody is these days. She's reworking her technique. She did skate at the Autumn Classic, losing out to Brady Tennell, and she seemed in a perfect place. She wasn't too upset about it. She really looks at this, at least to me, like this is a rebuilding process, and she's okay with whatever happens. On the other hand, you have Tuktamisheva, who has just come out on fire this season, much like she did the last post-Olympic season, just winning everything so far, looking solid. She's trying the triple axel again. She's landing it. She brought back triple Lutz, triple toe. What do you think between those two? Are they going to be 1 and 2, and who do you think is going to come out on top?
So for my preview for CBC Sports, I have Tuktamisheva as coming out on top because among other things, this is a young woman who has just arrived. I mean, she was a little girl for a very long time. I was reminiscing about 7 years ago at Skate Canada in 2011 when this tiny little 14-year-old stole the show and became Skate Canada champion. She became the world champion in 2015, the first time a Russian woman had in 10 years. So this is a woman who has been very much in the scene. The fact that she didn't make it to Olympics in either Sochi or in Pyeongchang. I think that she has just been sitting there and reworking what she needed to rework. She had to adjust to body changes as well. I mean, growth spurt. She had to overcome injuries. And I think that she's in the perfect place right now to just say, oh, yeah, you thought I was gone? I am not. And then when you look at her social media posts, she is somebody who has great maturity. And I think that that kind of maturity lends itself well to competing under pressure. When I watched Yevgenia Medvedeva, and I am a huge fan, when I watched her at Autumn Skate, she looked a little bit nervous to me. And this was a young woman, again, to whom I referred more than once as a machine. She was able to sort of go into any competition and really lay down 2 back-to-back solid programs. Even with the mistake, she was solid. She looked a little bit more tentative to me, both in the short and in the free. And it wasn't that long ago. I mean, we're looking at September, and now we're just at the end of October. So there hasn't been a lot of time. Again, I go back to that idea. If you're reworking technique and you're trying to adopt a different style and you have all this work in front of you, she only arrived in Toronto in the summertime. It's only October. I think that if you're playing the long game, maybe it's European Championships and Worlds that are your goal. Maybe these early competitions are just simply to get some experience. My faith is definitely in her as a competitor, though, and I do think it's going to be 1-2. But in this competition, I think it's going to be Tutsumishima.
Let's not forget Wakaba Higuchi from Japan. She is the reigning world silver medalist.
Yep.
My biggest takeaway with her from the Autumn Classic was that she appeared really uncomfortable, maybe with her choreography, or maybe it was just she wasn't 100% prepared. Last year she really stole the show with her programs. She had this spark in both programs. I didn't see it at Autumn Classic. If she skates well, she potentially can win. Do you think she's at that level that she maybe after a month's time is more comfortable, or do you think that the programs maybe just don't work for her?
I think that time will tell. And I also think that sometimes with brand new programs, and I don't know sort of how long before Autumn Classic those programs were completed, it takes a lot of miles on the program to get really comfortable. So who knows if there had been some changes. I don't really know. I do know that this is, again, a very talented skater, and I have no doubt that she will be as prepared as she is able to be, as all skaters are for any competition. The fact that they're not at 100% in the early part of this season maybe isn't something that's going to be devastating, because I think that there are some skaters who are better in the second half, Yuzuru Hanyu among them. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But in terms of preparedness, I think that Tutsumishima is the one who was the most prepared, the most hungry to prove that she was not just a flash in the pan, and the most ready to go.
A few other names we should throw out. Higuchi's teammate, Mako Yamashita. This is her senior Grand Prix debut, but she is the World Junior Bronze medalist. Potential spoiler, much like we saw last week with Samodurova from Russia. You also have Elizabeth Tursunbayeva, who switched places basically with Medvedeva. She went back to Eteri Tutberidze, and so far she has 2 silver medals in the Challenger Series this season. You have Americans Mariah Bell and Star Andrews. Andrews competed last week at Skate America, and she's probably looking for some redemption with her skates here. And why not just throw out the rest of the women? You have Daria Pankova. She was 8th at Russian Nationals. This is also her senior Grand Prix debut. But what I want to ask you is, with Gabrielle Daleman out, with Caitlin Osman not competing this season, and with Larkin Osman out due to injury, you have 3 Canadian ladies maybe trying to push towards potentially being national champion. You have Alain Chartrand, who was a former national champion, and you have Veronique Mallet, who has been around forever, but injury has kind of set her back. Beautiful, beautiful skater. And Alicia Pignol. So what do you think about those 3?
Well, I think that Canada, without Gabby Daleman, without Caitlin Osmond, is definitely looking to sort of rebuild the women. I think that Alain Chartrand showed last week. I was thrilled for her because at Skate America, again, a real huge whopper of a mistake in the short program and huge improvements in the free. I mean, the fact that she was able to come back and really push through and to skate very well in that free program, I think is a big advancement in terms of what she needs to do mentally in competition. When she skates well, she skates really well. When she has a couple of bobbles, she sometimes tends to sort of collapse a little bit. So the fact that she was able to skate a beautiful free program at Skate America gives her the kind of confidence that she needs to go into Skate Canada. So you're right. The Canadian women are looking to see who's going to take what at the national championships in January. And this is definitely one of the places where they need to demonstrate that they are worthy to be representing Canada internationally. So good luck to all the women. And I also want to say, Elizabeth Tursunbayeva, since moving back to Eteri Tutberidze, she just has been able to kind of own her power. She used to be one of those teensy tiny little skaters with the itty bitty little jumps, and I see a huge improvement in terms of her speed and her flow. So she maybe just needed a bit of a sort of a knock on the head to get cracking and to skate like she sort of is all grown up, and she is. So I'm definitely excited to see her skate. And I want to talk about the two Americans. Mariah Bell is charming on the ice. And she has the potential to also sort of threaten for the podium, as does Star Andrews on a good day. Now, she had a really bad day on the free skate at Skate America, but my heart and soul is with this skater. You know, when you just come out of nowhere and you excite people the way that she did last year at Nationals, it's very difficult to follow that up and to not have that be in your head every time you step on the ice. Because I think when you're young, every time you step on the ice, you think, I'm going to be somehow disappointing people. And nothing could be further from the truth. Star Andrews is a work in progress. I think that her collaboration with Coach Derek Delmore is inspired, and we just need to let her grow up a little bit more, let her mature, because there is a superstar, get what I did there? In there. So I think it's going to be a great event.
Next, the pairs, maybe the most prepared pair so far this season, Vanessa James and Morgan Cypress. They have choreography in the short program, at least, by Guillaume Cizeron. What do you think about them?
Woo! That's what I think about them. Their power, their strength, the fact that they have not allowed anybody to define what pair skating is. You know, lots of people would have given up between Russian pairs and Savchenko and Massot, and the Chinese pairs. It seemed as if the French team was always kind of a bit of an afterthought. But they have taken what they do really well, and that's some of those pair elements, and they have converted it in, or they have added to sort of dynamic choreography to make them really a standout team. That, coupled with their strength and their speed, is sensational. And she's from just up the road here in Scarborough, Ontario. So, love her.
Behind them, you have Cheng Peng and Yang Jin, the only Chinese pair competing on Grand Prix circuit this year. Do you think that adds more pressure to them with the Olympics coming up in Beijing? The Chinese Federation gave back their Grand Prix event this year, and then you only have this one pair team, which really is the strength of Chinese skating. So how much pressure is on them?
I think there's a huge amount of pressure because, among other things, you know, the Chinese Skating Federation gave back the Grand Prix because of the scandal from their judge. So this young team is sort of holding the burden of the Chinese Figure Skating Association on their shoulders. I think it's a tough thing to be able to do. And of course, you have to live up to the legend of Chinese pair skating. I mean, Chinese pairs and Russian pairs have been really the sort of the gold standard in terms of pair skating. So I do think it's a lot of pressure. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to handle it, but you know what? You never know. Tell you who I do think is going to be able to handle it, and that's the Canadian team of Kirsten Moore-Towers and Michael Marinero. At Autumn Classic, even with a couple of little bumbles, they look stronger than they have in a very long time. I love their unison. I love their chemistry on the ice. And I think that they will give the French team a run for their money. The French team did defeat them at Autumn Classic. I expect it will probably be the same result again here. But those are the three teams that I expect are going to end up on the podium, the three that we've just discussed.
One other team we might need to look out for, Alexandra Boykova and Dmitry Kozlovsky from Russia. They are former World Junior silver medalists looking to make an impression here. And again, it's Russian pair skating. I mean, it's like a factory. So you know, they could be a dark horse here as well.
Sure, they could. I still find that transition, rare is the team that can go from, especially team, go from junior to senior with ease. It seems to me that it usually takes sort of 2 or 3 seasons, unless you're Gordieva and Grinkov or another team like that. I mean, it's just, it's not easy. You know, sort of the cutesy stuff that you can do in juniors that will get you the points, along with the tricks in juniors, they don't always translate to the senior rank. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they will perform in Laval.
Finally, ice dance.
Woohoo!
Madison Hubble, Zach Donahue coming off a win last week at Skate America. Pretty convincing win. What did you think about their programs, and is there anything that you saw that they need to work on for this week?
No, they were fantastic. That rhythm dance, you know what? As I said when I was doing commentary for the live stream on CBC, I just the close up on the faces. I just said, "Cue the smolder." Woo! It was hot. Not only was it hot, but you know what? I love the Tango Romantica. I'm a real stickler for details of the timing and the precision of that dance, and they knocked it out of the park. And then to follow it up with what could have been a cheesy reversion of Romeo and Juliet, to die for. So I have two favorite free dances this season, Hubble and Donahue, and then the next strongest competitors, I think, in this ice dance field are Canadians Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier. Their free dance to Vincent, also to die for. I actually saw it live, and it moved me to tears. I've never been moved to tears in skating. It's that beautiful. So, but Maddie and Zach, they were sensational. From the innovative moves, from the interpretation of the theme, it just made me believe that this was all about love. So hats off to them, and to coaches Marie-France Dubreuil, Patrice Lauzon, and Romain Hagenauer. You just outdid yourselves. So, and it's hard in a school where there are so many dance teams to come up with things that are different. So I love the fact that it was just different. I also want to give one quick shout out to Olivia Smart and Adria Diaz, who represent Spain. I love their short dance. Saw it at Autumn Classic. It is so powerful as a tango. Not one moment of cheese in it. Don't even need any crackers. It's that good. So make sure you watch out for that one. And then both the Tango Romantica, the rhythm dance for Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, and the Vincent free dance, which again, to me, is about the different expressions of love through, I'm not going to say anymore. Actually, you guys are going to watch it, but it's joy, it's pain, it's rapture, it's everything. So hats off to the genius choreographers out there who are just pushing through and making some really cool stuff in ice dance.
Potential bronze medal favorites, Victoria Sinicina and Nikita Katsipalov. Injury took them out of the running last season. I think they were a team that many expected to make the Olympics and World Championships. Can they bounce back?
I think they can bounce back. I think that what we have to worry about, though, is that over-the-top, a bit sort of outdated style and movement. I want to see stuff that's fresh. If this is dance, show me dance. Don't show me a flurry of activity that is not meaningful when paired with music. So that's my only sort of worry about them. Can they express music? You bet. Are they strong technical skaters? Undoubtedly. But I just want to see stuff that's kind of new and different, and a bit of a twist on what we've been seeing for the last 10 years or so. I want you guys to take a look at Caroline Soussis and Shane Fierce. Their rhythm dance is wonderful. It's the year of the rhythm dance for me because I love the Tango Romantica. But when I saw them skate it, it was terrific. They have a wonderful free dance as well, but truly, Smart and Diaz and Soussis and Fierce, as far as their rhythm dances are concerned, they're a real treat. Just sit back and enjoy.
Skate Canada starts Friday. It is, once again, the second Grand Prix event out of 6. It's a worldwide tour, culminating in Grand Prix Final, which this year is also in Canada, in Vancouver, in December. Thanks once again, PJ, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Let's just do this all season. I love it.
Let's do it. Me too. Thank you so much for having me.